Hey everyone, welcome to my Oscar Guzman Flies Again guide. In this guide, I'll be walking you through the entire thing, giving you the best tips and tricks that you might need to get through this fast and efficiently. First, we should start with the basics. If you want to get into the Oscar Guzman missions, what you have to do is purchase the McKenzie Hangar you can find on the Maze Bank Foreclosures website for a cool $1.4 million. If you're wondering how much this is paying out, it's $500,000 plus a $250,000 bonus the first time you play it by playing it on normal difficulty, and then after you beat it for the first time, you can play it on hard mode for a cool $750,000 every time that you complete the mission. It takes about an hour to an hour and a half on the first playthrough, but obviously as you do this more and more, you'll get better at it, and there's even a tier 4 challenge for your career challenge that requires you to do it under an hour. A guide for that will be coming out later this week. Once you've been to the McKenzie Hangar, watched the cutscene and made your way into the office, you can find yourself some snacks on the same desk as the laptop that you'll be using for all the activities within this hangar. And speaking of activities, let's get into the very first mission, Up and Running. Normally, the game requires you to go to the transmissions tower by following the path up the mountain. However, we'll be taking a slightly quicker route, which I will show you on screen now. And yes, in case you are wondering, you are very much able to spawn your own personal vehicles, provided they don't have missiles. Something like an Insurgent Pickup Custom, however, is an exception to the rule. Having said this, the bike that you get with it is also perfectly fine, but I would still advise you to use a slightly faster personal vehicle if you have that available to you. Once you've made your way to the transmissions tower, make sure to destroy it with a singular sticky bomb, and then watch out for cougars. Yes, there are indeed cougars in missions in here, so be mindful of them and do not get off your bike, because you might very much die. As soon as the transmission tower has been destroyed, make your way to this ramp over here and then look out for the plane that will be coming towards you. If you have an explosive sniper rifle, make sure to utilize this and lead your shot slightly in front of the plane so you can already immediately start damaging it. The way that the plane will start dropping its packages is by the amount of damage that you've done to it. There seems to be a slight delay in between when you will start seeing packages drop, so it's generally about 2 shots of an explosive sniper rifle when it does start dropping packages. And as you can tell by the footage, at some point the plane stops flying altogether, making hitting it even easier. There's of course also an alternative way of getting this done if you don't have an explosive sniper rifle. The game will give you an SMG Mark II with FMJ rounds, so make sure to use the same route that we took to go up the mountain, to go down again and get closer to the plane. Then you basically just want to keep on shooting that SMG Mark II until the plane will continue to drop packages, and once you've grabbed all 4 packages, you can then make your way to the buyer drop-off point. It is worth mentioning that you can just use whatever weapon you feel like using in order to take down the plane. You are also able to get out of your vehicle and use something like a minigun or a railgun, whatever you prefer to use. Just make sure to not completely destroy the plane and pick up all the packages that it drops. For the Mogul setup, what you want to do is just simply make your way to the Bayon Cannon airstrip there and just walk towards it and just grab the plane right away. There is no real need to do any combat here, as most of them are simply unaware of you being there, and by the time that you grab the plane, everyone will be alerted anyway, so why bother taking them out stealthily? As for the other Mogul plane, you are able to grab that for some additional cash and deliver that to McKenzie Hangar, but it isn't entirely worth it unless you're planning on playing this with 4 players. The additional cash that you will get for delivering the second plane is about $10,000 to $20,000, and for the amount of time that you'll spend trying to get the second one, given the fact that as soon as you arrive for the second plane, everyone will be on high alert and probably start beaming you down with assault rifles and stuff like that, I'd say just give that one a skip. As for the second part of this mission, where you have to evade the jets, luckily the missiles are rather inaccurate, and the best way to really go about this is just kind of wiggle your plane up and down a bit as they are trying to hit you. They are so incredibly inaccurate that I'd honestly be surprised if you even get destroyed when not even bothering to avoid the missiles at all. Really what you want to do here is just keep avoiding those rockets until you make your way back to the McKenzie Hangar, where Oscar will be waiting with some anti-aircraft weapons. Once the jets are down, we then have to destroy a total of 5 bases using the bombs of the Mogul. To do this, open a bomb base and fly low. In the footage, I will show you the rough area where you have to start dropping the bombs. Make sure to hold down the button to drop 5 bombs at once, making it the easiest way to destroy the targets. Also, keep an eye out for the helicopters that might be flying on the same height as you are and avoid crashing into them. Once that's done and you deliver the Mogul, you can then decide to go grab the other one or just simply text Oscar that you are done. In the intel setup, you'll be tasked to take control of a drone and hack 4 servers. The drone is sadly both fragile and slow, so make sure to utilize the boost as much as you can while avoiding getting both detected as well as in bumping into too many things. To hack the server, all you have to do is be close enough to it and keep a close eye on the bottom right of your screen. Once the progress bar is completely full, you'll have an X appear on one of the 4 dots and you can move on to the next one. If you do happen to encounter an enemy, a very effective way of remaining undetected while also taking it out is by utilizing the shock weapon of the drone. Simply get close enough, wait until your dot turns red and then pull the trigger. Then keep on going until the next 3 servers are done as well and you'll be able to move on to the next part of the mission. It is worth noting that if you do destroy your drone, you have to start all the way at the start where you started in the drone during this mission. So avoiding getting any sort of damage or detection happening to the drone is probably a very good idea. Once you're done with the drone, you then want to make your way to the lighthouse where you'll encounter a couple of enemies and also this handy crate and icon over here where you'll be able to find the scuba suit, which will be incredibly useful for this part of the mission. What you want to be doing is going to the very middle of the circle on your map where you'll be able to find this sunken ship. In this area, you will have to find 4 different cargo. Unfortunately, there is 8 possible locations for these, but I have a handy map here which should give you a better idea of where to find them. Unfortunately, because we are on the middle of the ocean, I cannot really tell you anything else but just simply look out for broken down parts of a ship or any of the crates that could have fallen off the ship as well. That sadly is the only indications that I can give you how you can easily find these pieces of cargo. If you get close enough to them, however, there obviously will be a green dot showing up on your map, so make sure to keep an eye out for that too. I wish it was a better way to show you guys. Unfortunately, because we're in the middle of the ocean and we have no indications on our map whatsoever, this is kind of what we're stuck with. I can, however, tell you as well that everything is on the lower end of the ocean, so going up the hill seemingly makes no sense. Luckily though, the Iron Mule setup is a lot more straightforward. The first part of the mission simply requires you to plant a bunch of jammers, which are all marked on your map. In order to plant the jammer, what you want to do is you want to go in front of the satellite dish here and then just simply plant it in the ground. Keep an eye around you though, as there will be plenty of enemies constantly trying to shoot you who don't seem to be stopping the spawn, so make sure to grab enough snacks and armor with you before you start the mission. Another noteworthy enemy to take care of as soon as you can is the insurgent in the middle of the map. In that area, you will also be able to find an RPG and some other weapons and armor and health if you ever needed to have that. As the next part of the mission will require you to take out a bunch of helicopters and also take out as many enemies as quickly as possible in order to have the Iron Mules actually show up. I would say though that during this part of the mission, while the insurgent pickup custom can be very useful to take out those helicopters, it is probably a better idea to stay on foot and keep taking down enemies enemies to make sure that the meter doesn't go down too quickly. The helicopters kind of seem to show up every 30 seconds or so in between that time the meter of the backup iron mules seemingly also goes down, while taking down enemies keeps raising it up. So make sure to keep taking down enemies and everything until the meter is full. Once the iron mules have shown up, you want to wait until you can activate the jammers, wait for them to calm down, and then take one of the iron mules to the McKenzie Hangar. You are able to both take the insurgent as well as additional iron mules with you for some additional bonus cash, and also to be able to use them in further setups and finales. Now, the insurgent isn't worth your time to bring to the McKenzie Hangar. The reason why? Allow me to show you a clip of the finale of me using it. As for the iron mules, honestly, just take one. The amount of extra money that you get for the amount of effort that you have to do to get them is simply not worth it. Again, you're talking $10,000 to $20,000 for the iron mules here. It is not worth your time. It is too much hassle for too little reward. So just take one to the McKenzie Hangar, give Oscar another text message again saying you're done with this stuff, and move on to the next setup mission. The final setup mission once again has a couple of options for you here that will affect how your finale is going to play out. You have the possibility of grabbing some heavy armor, some better weapons for your Mogul, and also some better loadouts as well. However, none of these things affects your finale in a significant way enough to spend the extra time during this setup mission. You can just simply go to the cargo ship with your iron mule, grab the crate, and then fly back to Oscar and just give him a text message that you're done with the setup mission. If you want to do this because there is an award attached to them, then sure, go for it. But aside from like what the most effective or most resourceful way of spending your time in the setup is, that is definitely the way to go about it. And so we arrive at the finale. As discussed before, during the setups you were able to grab a second Mogul and the insurgent pickup custom. Neither of these will make sense to use as a solo player, so unless you're with 4 players and are actually able to use the second Mogul and its gun, you just simply want to get in with Oscar. Oscar will fly you around while you focus on the main objective of the mission, taking down the Titan 250D. In this on-rail section, you want to focus on just that. Pump as many bullets as you can into the Titan 250D while ignoring everything that the enemy is throwing at you. Oscar's Mogul can actually take quite a bit of damage, so just keep focusing on taking down the Titan as quick as you can. Once you've done that successfully, the Titan will then make a crash landing and you can jump out of the Mogul and then start taking down a couple of enemies before you make your way to the Titan and repair the engine. This minigame is very straightforward. Just simply press all the buttons that the game tells you to press. If you are getting shot a little bit too much, you can interrupt the minigame to take out a bunch of enemies, snack up again, and continue on where you were. Once it is done, you simply want to wait until Oscar has delivered the ammunition and the cutscene is played, and then you want to start loading in the ammunition. There's a total of 8 bullets that you have to load into the Titan 250D. During this section, especially while playing on hard, make sure to keep an eye on your health and armor. If you are getting low on health, like with the repair section, you can just simply interrupt what you're doing, snack up again, and continue on as you were. It is advised to do so though, as the enemies sometimes get a little too enthusiastic about wanting to kill you, so do keep an eye on that health bar. The next section of the mission is going to require some precision as a solo player. This section will be significantly easier if you bring a friend for obvious reasons. Having said that, I will show you the best way of how you can line up the Titan to get a good shot on targets. The rule of thumb here is to always make sure to have the guns fully reloaded before heading to the next target, and make sure that you're flying low. For the first target, you want to aim for this dirt road. When you've done so, you want to enter the guns and get ready to take out the targets. For the submarine, you want to line up the Titan so you fly directly next to the submarine and are able to fire off all 6 shots into it right away. You will need to reload and fire a 6th shot in order to take it down completely, so make sure that you are prepared. Once done, make sure to reload for the final target, which is the train. For For this one, you want to make sure that you're just about high enough to fly over the windmill farm and right next to the train tracks. Take out the front carriage first so the train will come to a stop, making potential reruns easier to do. For the second run after the reload, you want to line up the Titan so it's above the freeway to take out the remaining targets. If this is all too much of a headache and you just simply cannot get this done for the life of you, then you can also just opt in for a much slower but guaranteed way of getting this done. You don't actually need to use the Titan. What you could do is fly the Titan to the McKenzie airfield, land it there, and then take out the targets on foot or utilizing a personal vehicle. The convoy can be taken down by even simply shooting an SMG at it. The submarine can be destroyed with a singular homing launcher, and the train can also easily be destroyed with a homing launcher and some grenades. And that is how Oscar flies again.